the 20 tips to success in your first UX design job. So how to get your first UX design job after you following this course, so you improve your design skills further. So number one, as I mentioned earlier in the course as well, the first thing you have to do is to build a strong portfolio. So I showed you two platforms that you can create your portfolio without uh, any issue. If you don't have any coding knowledge or anything, you can just create profiles on Dribble and Behance and put your designs there. Always make sure to put your best designs there. Don't put your first designs. Most of the time, even for me, even for any designer, the first few designs are not looking that good. So that is where we learn about designing. So don't put them in your portfolio if you're looking for a job. So you have to improve your design and fine tune your design and try to get some feedback from your co-designers or people who are experienced in the design field, and you can improve your design. So at least 2 to 3 designs should be there when you are looking for a job. So when you are looking for a job, when you apply for a job, you as a designer, you have to mention your portfolio link, or you have to attach a PDF or a showcase document to your uh, hiring manager or the recruiter to see your designs. So ideally, it should be a website or a portfolio website like a Behance or Dribble. So try to showcase your best design there. So build a strong portfolio is must. So that is how your recruiters or hiring managers know that your designs are good or bad. So that is the first thing they refer to when they get your application. So the building a strong portfolio is really important. Okay, number two, update your LinkedIn profile. So nowadays, most of the jobs, most of the companies are publishing their job advertisements on LinkedIn itself. So if you have a updated LinkedIn profile with all your qualifications, all your educational background, all your past experience and everything, it is really good for the recruiters because they can study about you. They can get an idea about you rather than finding out about you on internet or asking different people. They can get an idea about you by referring to your LinkedIn profile. So you can add all your educational details, all your prior working experience, all your interest, all the certifications that you already completed, the courses you follow. Is there any workshops that you attended? So you can make this LinkedIn profile as a uh, professional social media platform. So don't post so many unnecessary things there. Try to be professional and add all the workshops you attended to. Try to write an article about whatever the topic you like, something related to UX or psychology, user psychology, or anything like that. Or maybe even your own user, like UX story, how you started as a UX designer, what motivates you to do UX designing, things like that. Those are the things that you can do on LinkedIn profile. So always make sure at least update your educational and professional qualifications there as well. So there are some LinkedIn groups as well with fellow UX designers. So you can always, when you do a new design, you can put that design there and get users' feedback uh, from the group members. So they will give you good feedback. So you have to take that feedback respectably, actually. So some people give you good feedback, otherwise other people give you like a critical feedback. So if your design is not that good, they will directly tell you that is actually really good. So don't take that personal, take it gracefully and update your design based on those feedbacks. So that is one thing that you can do by having updated LinkedIn profile. Okay, number three, get real world experience. So even though you do this particular course and if you follow YouTube channels and if you even follow a online course regarding Figma or UX design, if you don't do designs, if you don't get real world experience, it won't uh, give you a chance to perform in a real world. For an example, let's say you get an interview and they are asking you to do some kind of a design, a real world based on real world scenario. Let's say for an example, they're asking you to design a bicycle pool or ride sharing application. So if you don't have that technical knowledge, if you haven't used that particular applications, if you don't have an idea about the end users of these applications, you will have to like think uh, in that particular time and do your design. So it will take some time. Actually, the most of the time, the design interviews, they don't give you like tight time frames. They give you like 1 week or so. So you can do your research one day and then you can interview some users and you can create your wireframes and do the designs in the end. So it is really important to get real world experience. Even if you don't get any projects from your clients, try to do a project. For an example, let's say your banking application you are using currently is not that good. So there are few issues that you already identified, the UX issues, usability issues. The visual representation can be better. So you identified those issues. Try to create an application yourself by eliminating all these issues that you are facing. So you can later put this in your portfolio. You don't have to use the actual bank's name or anything. You can create your own logo or whatever the name that you like and put this in your portfolio as a like you did this project not for a client or anyone, just to learn UX and learn to improve UX designing skills of yours. So get real world experience is also a must. So we talked about build a strong portfolio and then update LinkedIn profile and then get real world experience. This is actually not only for the UX designing job, even for the coding jobs, these things apply. Okay, number 4, network. So even by creating a LinkedIn profile and adding your co-designers and decision makers in the industry, that won't be enough if you want to build a better network. So in Colombo, or actually I don't have much idea about UX industry right now in Sri Lanka. But when I worked at WSO2, there were events actually where the people at IFS, Virtusa, and even Millennium IT, the people, UX people participate on these events and discuss about the challenges they face, new industry trends, and so on. So you have to network with your co-designers and try to get to know people in other companies in similar play similar job roles. For an example, if you try to be a UX designer in particular company, try to identify some key players, key designers in these particular companies, and always try to communicate with them and communicate about new ideas, ask them about the projects they do recently, the challenges they face, and so on. So you have the advantage of social media as well as LinkedIn to communicate back and forth with these people. You can follow them, or you can follow and subscribe to their YouTube channels and follow. So that is not only apply to local people. You can follow people in different countries, Singapore, US, or whatever the country you like to visit or like to get a job in UX industry. So you can identify different people, the key people, and try to network with them, ask questions, or maybe you can retweet there and ask them questions on their tweets or social media posts or anything. Most of the time, they will get back to you if it is a valid question or if they have time actually. So networking is really important. So for an example, let's say uh, there's a designer who don't have that much of a network and he's not he's actually a good designer, the first one. The second designer, he don't have much design skills, but he has a really good network. So when there's an opportunity, the person with a network will get the news first. So he has a competitive advantage when comparing to a good designer. So always try to be a good designer as well as try to build a network as well. So it will be beneficial for you to find a job in the industry. Okay, number 5, familiarize yourself with web development. So as I mentioned in our first or second sessions as well, so if you, in addition to the designing skills you have, if you are good with coding, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it will be really beneficial for you to find a job. So the person who has this kind of a knowledge will get a competitive advantage when comparing to the person who don't have comparing to the person who only have design skills, because most of the companies, especially startups, are looking for people, designers who can code as well. So most of the time, the UX designers has to do front-end development as well, especially in startups. So it is a really good advantage if you know these technologies as well, especially HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some CSS frameworks such as Tailwind or Bootstrap, or even JavaScript frameworks such as React.js, Vue.js, or AngularJS. So you have to take one of these, at least HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, in order to get a opportunity when comparing to the other people. So you will get a competitive advantage if you know these web technologies. All right. Give up thinking you are an imposter. Okay, so even when I started my career, I tend to think that my designs are not that good. So I thought that way because I compared my designs with the UX designers who has 5 to 6, 10 years experience and so on. So you don't compare your designs with the people who have so much experience. So only compare yourself with past you. So for an example, let's say when you started this course, you haven't had much knowledge in designing or even Figma. So, but now yeah, you can do something on Figma. So that is a good improvement. So always try to compare yourself with past you, not with the person with 5 to 10 years experience. So in that way, you can improve and you can learn from these people and get an idea and everything, but don't try to compare. All right. Do you have any questions up until now? Okay, next one, don't give up on the hunt. So what this is about, now let's say you apply for you are looking for a job opportunity and you apply for 5 to 10 jobs and no one get back to you, so you don't apply for more jobs. So most of the time, so when you're applying for a UX job or anything, they take some time to reply, especially in some other country. So for an example, if you apply for a foreign job, they might take at least 1 month to get back to you, and sometimes they get back to you and sometimes they don't. So if you uh, stop applying for new jobs, if you apply for 5 to 10 jobs and look for their feedback and you're not getting their feedback and you lost your hope on job hunting, so you don't have to give up your hunt, because let's say most of the time these companies hire people, like for an example, it's if it is a travel industry related company, they are looking for a UX designer who has experience in travel industry. So if you don't have that much of experience in travel industry, they will reject you. So that you have to make sure that they are not rejecting you as person, they are rejecting your profile. So you don't have to take it personal, and you have to apply for more and more jobs that suits your expertise. So for an example, if you work in a banking industry for quite a lot of time period, for an example, let's say 4 to 5 years, you have a good advantage when applying for jobs in banking sector. So for an example, if you have expertise in particular domain, for an example, let's say startup or travel industry or ride sharing application. So those are the companies that you can apply. So, but even if they reject you, even if they don't get back to you, don't give up on your job hunt. Keep applying, and there will be one person that one job role that matches your job skills. So don't give up on your job hunt, even though if they rejected you several times. And number 8, ask for feedback. So as designers, we have to ask for users' feedback as well as our clients' feedback. So getting this feedback, so when users give feedback or a team member or a stakeholder give us feedback, always make sure not like don't take it personal. So they are giving feedback to your designs, not to you. So you don't have to take it personally and make sure you get the feedback gracefully and fine tune your design and update your design and make it a successful project or product. So always make sure ask for a feedback. That is the only way that UX designers can improve their designs, because if you do your design and you think this way and if you are the only person who is thinking and giving feedback to yourself, the design won't be a successful one. So we always have to get feedback from our users first, because at the end of the day, the users are the ones who are using your application. And then you have to get feedback from your stakeholders as well, because these are the people who are investing on this application. They might have a good knowledge. Sometimes they don't have good knowledge about the end users, but anyway, you have to get feedback from them. If they are giving you feedback and if they are telling you something that your end users don't like to do in your application, you can rationalize it and tell them that the end users won't like the idea that you are giving. If we do this change in our design, the end users won't like it. So you can give ideas and you can discuss and back and forth. You can ask for feedback from everyone involving in this particular project. So always make sure to take feedback and do the changes accordingly if it is really necessary. Okay, number 9, don't get greedy. So for an example, let's say you starting off as a UX designer. So there are UX designing platforms or freelancing platforms such as Upwork. When they asking, when they try to negotiate you on your salary, always make sure to give a value that is reasonable. So don't, for an example, let's say when you're getting a project on Upwork or any other platform, if you have experience, if you don't have that much of experience, don't ask for the higher end prices. Ask something that you can manage and something reasonable, and don't try to get greedy, because most of the time, if you are greedy, if you don't have some good designs to back your price or budget, the people try to hire you will reject you. So don't try to give higher prices if you don't have much experience. Try to give reasonable prices and always make sure in the beginning of your career, make it a educational or make it a learning experience for yourself. So every project you do in your first uh, 1 to 3 years will be a learning experience for you. So after that, you can increase your budgets, increase your pricing and everything with the experience. So always try to be reasonable and don't get greedy, even when you negotiating salaries or project prices. All right. Next one, attend hiring events. So in Sri Lanka, we don't have much hiring events, especially in the industry. But in the universities, we have open days and things like that. So the hiring events. So you have to attend to those hiring events and get to know the important people in the industry. Let's say, for an example, you want to work in a particular company. So you get to know that these people uh, conducting a hiring event in particular venue. So you can go there and try to network with these people and get an idea about the working culture, working ethics of that company, and try to understand if it is matching your expectations and so on. And you can join that particular company by following those people that you get to know. And in Singapore, they have application called Meetup, where they publish all these meetups and the seminars or the hiring events and everything there. And you can get to know about all these hiring events, what are the companies attending, and how you can get to know about the process they follow, the project management tools they use, what is the working culture, how is the ethics, so what kind of a people are working there, is it something I like? So you can get to know about all these things by attending to those hiring events. Okay, number 11, you can mentor another student. So the best way that you can learn uh, is like, for an example, you learn something about Figma. Now, if you try to do it yourself, it will take some time for you to understand everything and uh, do practicals yourself and uh, get an experience. But if you try to mentor another student, your friend or someone, about the particular theory in UX design or a practical in the UX design, it will be beneficial for you. So you will get to know about this really quickly. So it is not only applying for designing. If you do any other subject, if you try to teach someone else with your own words. So first thing, you have to understand it yourself, and then when you teach it, you will get to know about it more and more. So it will be beneficial for you as well. All right. The next one is to keep a positive mentality. So as I mentioned, in the don't give up the job hunt. So always make sure when you are applying for a job or your work, even if you get a job in and working in the industry, always have to keep a positive mentality. But let's say, let's start off by applying for a job. So when you're applying for a job, even if you have experience, uh, there will be rejections. So for an example, if you apply for a job in a foreign country or anything, they will reject you if your profile don't match their job description. So that doesn't mean that you are not a good UX designer, but you are not matching to that particular job role. So you have to understand that. And don't give up when they reject you. So you can find a better job that suits you and apply, and one day you will get a job. After few rejections, don't give up, keep applying, and you will find a better place to work. And even when you get a job, most of the time, as a UX designers, you will get feedback. So most of these feedbacks are negative. So some people might say that your designs are not that good, your designs are not up to the uh, task or up to the level that we are expecting. So even though you spend so much of time, so much of hours and everything, uh, sometimes you get to know these comments from the users as well as stakeholders of your project. So don't try to like, even though you get this kind of feedback, try to keep a positive mentality every day. Otherwise, you won't be able to work in the industry. So don't take it personal and try to make sure to improve your designs based on this feedback, if it is a critical feedback, if it is a honest feedback. Okay, number 30 is to increase your network. So if you have a good network, let's say when you starting off your career, or when you start looking for a jobs, you improved your network, you increased your network. And after some time, you forget about all these people because you have a good job and you don't have much time to network with these people as well. So let's say after some time, you want to find a new opportunity, new job in the industry. So if you don't increase your network, you will have to build your network all over again when you are looking for a job opportunity. Uh, so always make sure to increase your network even you are working. Try to communicate with these people, these decision makers in the industries, and get their ideas about the present projects that they are working on and so on. And job shadowing. Job shadowing is another thing that you can do if you don't have experience, if you don't know about the job role that you're applying for. For an example, let's say your first job you're applying for is a UX designer or UX researcher. So what you can do is you can get an internship in a company and observe what UX designers or UX researcher do. So you get to know that these are the daily routine, that these are the things that they do in daily basis. So even though if you don't work in a company, with YouTube, what you can do is you can search for the terms such as day of a life of a UX designer, a day of a life of a UX researcher, and you get to know about what they do in daily basis. So for an example, in UX designers daily basis, it depends. So in weekday, one weekday, they might have a stand-ups or the meetings with his company. And on another day, they might attend some user interviews. And on another day, they might discuss about the findings that they gathered from these user interviews. And most of the time they do the designing or the research or near the computer. So you get an idea about these are the things that I should do if I get a job in this particular industry if you don't have much knowledge about what they do in daily basis. So good starting point is to search those terms I just told you on YouTube. Job shadowing. Next, we have don't be afraid. So when you're applying for a job, let's say for an example, as a starter, you're not applying for a job in good companies, good software companies in Sri Lanka or any other country. Now, if you don't apply for these companies, you don't anyway get a job. So if you apply and get rejected, that is not something you have to be afraid. It is a good thing. So you get to know about you are not good enough for this particular company, but don't be afraid to apply. So for an example, you think that if you apply for this particular job, you will definitely get rejected. So that is not something under your control. So you know that you can apply and it is hiring manager or the recruiter's job to give you an interview or reject you. So try to apply for more jobs. Try to apply to the jobs that suits you, that you think that suits you, that align with your job expectations, and if it aligns with company's job description, you can apply for those opportunities and don't be afraid to apply. Don't sink your teeth in the first piece of meat. So as I mentioned, don't be afraid to apply. And even though if you apply, let's say you are looking for a job and you are looking for a particular culture to work with a team. So for an example, if you apply for a job and you get rejected a few times, 2 or 3 times, and you get an opportunity, but that opportunity don't value your expectations. For an example, they want you to work on weekends. They want you to work long hours. So you don't have much time to spend with your family and so on. And if you don't like the working culture, if you don't, let's say for an example, you like to go to work and work in office premises, and the company only allow you to work remotely. So that doesn't match your expectation. So on the other way around, you only like to work from home and the company want you to come to office premises and work in daily basis. So that is also not matching your expectation. So don't get the first opportunity you get and look for more opportunities if it doesn't match your expectations. So at the end of the day, so for an example, if you want to leave the office in time and spend time with your family, but the company want you to work long hours till the night, it affect your work-life balance as well as your mentality and everything. So make sure to get a job that value your expectations and value your personal life and everything. So you don't have to sink your teeth in the first piece of meat. All right. Uh, Number 17, be honest. So it is not only applying for a UX, in daily life, you have to be honest always. So in the UX, you have to be honest because most of the time when you put, let's say in one scenario, you put other people's work on your portfolio. For an example, you don't have much work to showcase, and what you do is you get some project from internet and you put those screenshots on your portfolio. So most of these hiring managers or the designers, co-designers know that what you can do by interviewing you, by asking you a few questions, by referring to your assignment that they are giving you. You are not the one who did this particular project, so they will reject you. So always be honest and try to put your best work on your portfolio. Even if you put other people's work, there might be copyright issues. So other people will get to know that you are posting their work in your portfolio and pretending that you did this work, but they can write like they can sue you, they can get like copyright infringement issues, and there are some governing bodies that you can even in portfolio platforms like Dribble and Behance, they can report and they will remove your profile altogether if you do any of these copyright related issues, if you face any of these copyright related issues. And even when you're doing the job, when you give the budget or the time frame to your client or whatever, always be honest. Uh, Create realistic deadlines, create realistic pricing, and be honest. So in that way, you can work in this field long term. So let's say, for an example, you put someone else's material in your portfolio and you get a job. But when you do the job, they will get to know so you are not good enough. So you have to find a job all over again. And the reputation you get is also bad. So always try to be honest as in a life. And number 10 is know your strengths. So as a designer, let's say you know your strengths. If you are good with people, if you're good with personal, like if you can communicate with people, if you have good interpersonal skills, uh, you know that you can interview people, you can be a UX researcher. If you have good visual design skill, if you have a good eye, you can be a visual designer. And if you're good at researching, if you're good at creating documentation, in the same time, you can be a UX researcher and so on. So always make sure, know your strengths and apply these strengths in your job. So if you're good at documentation, if you're good at communicating with other people, uh, the best job that you can take is a UX researcher, because most of the designers that uh, uh, do visual designs don't have this kind of a skills. They don't like to communicate in the first place most of the time, and some of them don't have communication skills. So always make sure to find a job to match your skills. So it will be beneficial for you. Number 19, do as much UX related stuff as you can. So if you want to become a good UX designer, so every day when you interact with something, it can be a digital product or a physical product, make sure to look it in a UX designer's perspective. For an example, you interacting with a bicycle or you interacting with a uh, vehicle or whatever, always make sure, is it ask questions. Is this user friendly? Can I improve the design of this particular uh, product? Can I improve the design of this particular digital application, banking application? So in that way, you get to know. So these are the things that we can do to improve this particular design. So when you get a requirement from your user, or when you get a problem from your workplace, for an example, let's say they ask you to solve a problems that users are facing in the particular application. So you know that you experienced this kind of a problem before and you have some solutions. So you can suggest them. So always make sure, think as a UX designer. So as I mentioned in our first few sessions, I already suggested you to read the book, The Design of Everyday Things. It will help you to think like a UX designer. So there are some other books as well. I already added them on our Google Classroom. Make sure to read them when you have time and think as a UX designer in everything you approach, every digital or physical product that you interact with in daily basis. Number 20, wear your drive on your sleeves. So if you you spend so much of time learning and spending so much of time fine-tuning your designs, and you finally become a good UX designer and you are proud of your designs. So always make sure to show off these designs in your portfolio or in your LinkedIn profile, because you spend so much of time and you put so much of effort in learning. So it is your time to show the world that you that you accomplished something in UX designing and your designs are good. So people will get to know, people will follow you on social media, and when they get a project, they will contact you if they remember your designs, if your designs are really good. So number 20, wear your drive on your sleeves. So those are the 20 tips that I can give you to find success in your first UX design job.